mathematicians. Next, we see one very nice problem from group theory. This is about the quotient group Q mod Z. Okay. If you look at the previous year question papers, you can see many problems are asked about the quotient group Q mod Z. And we'll see. In this video, we'll see uh, all the important properties of the group Q mod Z, so that whichever problem in the future asked about Q mod Z can be answered by things explained in this video alone. Okay, so try to watch the full video. For example, I am giving you one problem which is asked regarding the group Q mod Z. Okay, sorry, I didn't get the clear question paper. Let me explain the question. Consider the group G equal to Q mod Z, where Q and Z are the groups of rational numbers and integers respectively. Let n be a positive integer. Then is there a cyclic subgroup of order n? Okay. Now this is a arbitrary positive integer. They are asking, does this group G has a cyclic subgroup of order n? Since this n is arbitrary, they are asking, can you find cyclic subgroup of order n for every n in this group G? Okay, so whatever natural number you give, the group G has a cyclic subgroup of that order. That is the question. So the options are not necessarily. That means that there are some positive integers such that say 1000. There is no cyclic subgroup of order 1000 for this group G. That is what they are saying in the first option. They are saying yes. Second option is yes. Means that you give any positive integer, G has a subgroup, cyclic subgroup of order n. Not just that, there is a unique cyclic subgroup of order n. Then the third option, there is a subgroup of order n, cyclic subgroup of order n, but it need not be unique. Okay. And the fourth option is never. Never means for any n, whatever n you give, it will not have any cyclic subgroup. That is what they are saying. I mean, clearly, last option is false, because like if you take n equal to 1, then the cyclic subgroup of order 1 is singleton 0. So obviously for every group singleton 0, the identity element is a subgroup. So we just need to discuss about first three options. Okay. Anyway, our aim is not to solve this problem. Our aim is to study this important properties of this group Q mod Z. Okay, so you should read it as Q mod Z. Okay, and so that this problem also answered, but all the similar problems also you can answer. Okay, let's try to understand the group Q mod Z. In the previous video, we proved that if Q is an abelian group, then if G is a abelian group, then every subgroup of it is a normal subgroup. Okay, it is a very simple fact. Therefore, Q is a abelian group. Therefore, Z is a normal subgroup. So we can talk about the quotient group Q mod Z. Okay, okay. Let's continue. These are all from previous video. Okay, let's start. So first we see, let's fix some notations for rational numbers. So rational numbers means elements of the form p by q. Okay, where the numerator coming from integers. In particular, numerator can be 0. If numerator is 0, full number will be 0. Numerator can be positive and negative. But q, we are taking only natural number. Okay. Why? Because and we also have the condition that this p and q should be relatively prime. That is what we call reduced expression of the rational number. If you consider 4 by 2, you can reduce it to 2 by 1, which is 2. Similarly, if it is 2 by 4, you reduce it to 1 by 2, so that this 1 and 2 are relatively prime. This 2 and 4 is not relatively prime, right? Okay. Similarly, minus 1 by 2. Okay. Now, any rational number, only in the numerator you will have positive and negative, and in the denominator we are going to get always positive. This is our notation. Okay, we don't need to allow negative in both the places because that is basically positive. Okay, so we're going to allow either negative above or below. So without lesser generality, we're going to allow negative above, and the denominator clearly cannot be zero. Therefore, we take a q from natural number. Okay. Okay, this is our first understanding. Let's continue. So Q comma plus is an abelian group. Therefore, Z comma plus is a normal subgroup of Q. Now, very basic but very important property of the coset. Okay, if it is a coset group, then its elements are set of all right cosets. So you know how to work. You should know how to work with the cosets. So let's see some properties of cosets. So I take a group G and a subgroup of G, then HA, the right coset of H with respect to an element A belongs to G is, it is a set contains elements of the form set of all HA such that H in H. Okay. Now we want to understand when two such cosets are equal. Okay, HA equal to HB if and only if AB inverse belongs to H. It is a very simple result from group theory. You can check. Then, as a particular case of this result, you take B to be identity element. Okay, then you get HA equal to H if and only if A belongs to H. Okay, so this result is going to be very important for this to understand the properties of this group Q mod Z. Now, this the operation between H and A is the operation in the group G. HA means H star A. Now we are in the additive group. Okay, Q is a additive group, and what is the operation in the group Q mod Z? So elements of Q mod Z are, uh, I suppose I have written it somewhere. Okay, let me write it once again. Okay. So elements of Q mod Z are nothing but set of all right coset. Set of all Z plus P by Q such that P by Q belongs to Q. Okay, so this is the definition. In general, if you look at G mod N, okay, G mod N means a set of all right cosets of N. Okay, you can take left coset also, but you fix one. Either you take left coset or right coset, but I work with right coset. Okay, so here the operation is star. Okay, if you look at arbitrary operation, but in Q the operation is plus. So we write the coset as Z plus P by Q, where P by Q belongs to Q. Okay, again you recall that this P is a arbitrary integer, this Q is a positive integer. That is our assumption on rational numbers. Okay. So elements of Q mod Z are of the form Z plus P by Q. By this result, we can compare two right cosets when two right cosets of Z are equal. Okay. Okay. So we have HA equal to H if and only if A belongs to H. Therefore, Z plus A equal to Z. Okay. In place of H, we have the subgroup Z. Z is a subgroup. Z plus A equal to Z if and only if A belongs to Z. Okay, so this is our first observation. Here in this group, what is the identity element? Z plus 0 is the identity element, but Z plus 0 is simply we write it as Z. In general, if you look at the G mod N, in the group G mod N, identity element will be the right coset of the identity element NE. NE we simply write it as N. Okay, okay, that is good. Therefore, uh, Z plus A equal to Z if and only if A belongs to Z. Okay. Now, if you look at Q mod Z, its elements are set of all Z plus P by Q such that B by Q belongs to Z. Okay. But here there are many repetitions. Okay. Many repetitions means many of these elements are equal. Okay. So let's see which elements are equal. For example, you take a integer, x belongs to integer. Okay, so p by q belongs to q means that p by q can be integer also. For example, you take p to be any integer, q to be 1. Okay, then If you take integer, then z plus x equal to z. That means that z plus 1, z plus 2, z plus minus 1, z plus minus 2, all those cosets are equal to just the one coset z. Okay, so even though it looks like here, you might think that there is a one-to-one correspondence between q mod z and q. The map is p by q, that is z plus p by q goes to p by q. That is a bijection, you might think, but that is not the case. Okay, because many cosets can be equal. Okay, so that is the that is a thing. For example, if you look at a coset of any integer, they are all equal to z, the coset z. Z means z plus 0. Okay, okay, so let's see. So if x belongs to z, then no, then we know what is the coset. Z plus x is just z. So I take a rational number which is not z. So I take x belongs to q minus z. Then we claim that this x can be written as m plus p by q, where p by q is a rational number in minus 1 comma 1. Okay, why is it so? So everybody, you guys might have seen integral part of x. This m is nothing but integral part of x. Okay, then this p by q is the x minus integral part of x. So this is called the rational part of x. Okay, so let me explain with the example why a non-integer rational number can be written as set of all. I will explain why. If you take a rational number which is not an integer, why it can be written as x equal to m plus p by q. Okay, and actually p by q belongs to minus 1 comma 1 minus 0. P by q cannot be 0 also. If p by q is 0, then m is an integer. Okay, so for example, you look at this rational number 77 by 15. It can be written as 75 plus 2 by 15. This is 75 by 15 plus 2 by 15. This is 5 plus 2 by 15. Okay. Therefore, 77 by 15 equal to 5 plus 2 by 15. This is an integer. This is 2 by 15 is a rational number which belongs to minus 1 comma 1. Okay. In particular, if this number is positive, this number will belongs to open 0 comma 1. Okay. Similarly, and this 5 is called the integral part of 77 by 15. This 2 by 15 is called the rational part of 2 by 15. Let's look at minus 77 by 15, and then this can be written as minus 5 plus minus 2 by 15. Again, this rational number also can be written as some integer plus some rational number that lies in minus 1 comma 1. Okay, if this number is positive, this rational belongs to open 0 comma 1. If this number is negative, this rational belongs to open interval minus 1 comma 0. Okay, so this is our observation. We are trying to understand this coset z plus p by q. Okay, if p by q is an integer, then that coset is nothing but just the coset z plus 0. So next we look at p by q which is not an integer. In that case, to understand this coset, first year we are proving a property of this number p by q. So if x is a rational number, so maybe there is a notation confusion. Here is a p by q, here is a p by q. Hopefully it is fine. So I claim that you take any rational number which is not an integer, it can be written as an integer plus a rational number where that rational number belongs to minus 1 comma 1. If this x is positive, this p by q belongs to open 0 comma 1. If this x is negative, then p by q belongs to minus 1 comma 0. Maybe I will write it. So x greater than 0 implies p by q will belongs to open 0 comma 1, and x less than 0, that implies p by q belongs to minus 1 comma 0. So this result we will be needed in the later also. So let me just mark it down. Okay, okay, good. So this is I hope this example is clear. uh, why a rational number can be written as in this format. Okay. Okay, so let's continue. Now I take a number x which is a rational number which is not an integer, then by our above result we can write x as x equal to m plus p by q, where m is an integer and p by q belongs to q. Okay, and this modulus of p will be strictly less than q. Why is it so? Because we saw that this when we write this decomposition, when you decompose a rational as a integral part of x and a rational part of x, we saw that this p by q belongs to open 0 comma 1 or p by q belongs to minus 1 comma 0, depends on whether x is positive or not. Okay, now if p by q belongs to open 0 comma 1 means that the numerator, the numerator has to be either it should be either p should be either 1 2 etc p minus 1, sorry q minus 1. So you take any rational number p by q belongs to open 0 comma 1, that means that this number is strictly less than 1. Strictly less than means this numerator has to be less than q. Okay, so less than q and p is an integer but it belongs to open 0 comma 1 means that p should be a positive integer. Therefore what are all the positive integers less than q? That is precisely 1 2 etc q minus 1. Similarly, if p by q belongs to minus 1 comma 0, then the choices for p by q then the choices for p are minus q minus of q minus 1 comma minus of q minus, sorry, minus of q minus 2 etc etc minus 2 minus 1. So these are the only choices for p numerator. Okay, so remember that, recall that q is a positive integer. So whenever we define a rational number, this denominator is always positive integer. That is how we define q in the beginning. Therefore if p by q belongs to open 0 comma 1, then that p has to be one of these q minus 1 numbers. If p by q belongs to minus 1 comma 0, basically this is just the negative of this number. So this p has to be negative of this number. So minus q minus 1 minus q minus 2 etc minus 2 minus 1. Okay, therefore if you take an integer, if you take a rational number which is not an integer and you write it as x equal to m plus p by q. Okay, when you write it like this, this numerator p, if x is positive, this p is between 1 to q minus 1, and if this x is negative, then the p is minus 1 to minus q minus 1. Basically it means that mod p is strictly less than q. Okay, so mod p is strictly less than q means p can be lies between minus q minus 1 and plus q minus 1. Okay, okay, that is what it means, and we know p cannot be 0. Okay, let's continue. Now what we have done, now we look at the coset of z plus x. What is our idea? We want to understand the coset z plus x. So now z plus x equal to z plus m plus p by q. Now this is equal to z plus m plus z plus p by q. Okay, because this is how the operation is defined in the quotient group. Okay, did I write it somewhere? Yeah, for example, you see HA into HP equal to HAB. That is how you define the product on the cosets. In particular, if you add z plus a and z plus b, you get z plus a plus b. This is the operation in this group q mod z. Okay, therefore z plus m plus p by q equal to z plus m plus z plus p by q. Okay, now m is an integer. We know that z plus m equal to z if m is an integer. Therefore this z plus m will be equal to z plus 0 or simply z. Okay, z plus 0 plus z plus p by q. Again you use the addition. So when you add two coset, you just add the representatives. So you get HA int hb equal to hab, but here the operation is plus, therefore z plus 0 plus p by q, but 0 plus p by q p by q. Okay, so we conclude that z plus x equal to z plus p by q. So what we have done is, you look at any coset of a rational number which is not an integer, then that coset is equal to z plus p by q, where mod p is less than q. What we saw in the beginning, we saw in the beginning that z plus 1, z plus 2, etc, etc, z plus 3, z plus 4, etc, etc, then z minus 1, z minus 2, etc, etc. All these cosets are equal to one coset, which is, what is that coset? That is z plus 0. That is what we saw. Okay, now we are saying that you look at the coset of a rational number z plus x, then you don't need to look at if now this x is an arbitrary rational number. Okay, so arbitrary rational number means it is of the form some m comma n. But we have proved that this z plus x is equal to z plus p by q, where mod p is strictly less than q. Okay, so in this if when you take x as an arbitrary rational number, this m and n can be any number, arbitrary. There are infinitely many rational numbers, but we proved that any arbitrary z plus x is actually equal to z plus p by q, where mod p is strictly less than q. That means that you don't need to look at the, you don't need to look at all the cosets z plus x. It is enough to look at the cosets z plus p by q, where mod p is strictly less than q. Okay, so we don't need to look at these cosets because they are all equal to z plus 0. You don't need to look at arbitrary quotient of a rational number, because you take any rational number which is not an integer, that quotient will be equal to the quotient of a rational number with numerators modulus strictly less than q. Therefore, we conclude that the set q mod is set equal to set of all z plus p by q, such that p by q belongs to q and mod p less than q. Okay, so now we have reduced this number of elements in this set too much. Okay, first we thought this is equal to z plus p by q, such that p by q belongs to q, but now if you noticed, we are looking at set of all actually we have proved that this set is not this much bigger. That set is actually z plus p by q, such that p by q belongs to q and mod p less than q. Okay, so let's do, and now we going to show that even more elements can be reduced. Let's see how. For that, we look at z plus minus 1 by q. Okay, so mod p, note that mod p less than q means that you've put any rational number here, sorry, any natural number here, then q can be any number between minus q minus 1, minus q minus 2 and minus q minus 1. So any number between minus q minus 1 and q minus 1. Okay, so basically for each natural number q, there are how many choices here? 2q minus 1 choices for p. Okay, 0 to q minus 1, there are q numbers, then there is q minus 1 numbers here. Okay, for each rational number, for each natural number q, this many choices for p. Now we going to prove that we don't need even these numbers. We just need only these numbers. That is what we going to prove. Okay, okay, so maybe first time when you see this proof, it might be little difficult to understand, but it is a very important concept. It is this concept is, this problem is asked in NBHMTA for all these interviews. Okay, So yeah, let's continue. So let's look at z plus minus 1 by q. Now clearly minus 1 satisfies the condition that mod p less than q. This coset is equal to z plus minus 1 by q can be written as, so in the numerator you add and subtract a q. You will get z plus minus q by q plus q minus 1 by q. Okay, this is z plus minus 1 plus q minus 1 by q. So z plus minus 1 by is z by the coset rule. So we get z plus minus 1 by q is equal to z plus z minus 1 by q. Similarly, you can prove that z plus minus 2 by q equal to z plus q minus 2 by q. How do you prove? Again, you just add and subtract q here, then it is immediate. So in general, z plus minus k by q equal to z plus q minus k by q. Okay, now these are all negative p's, these are all positive p's. Okay, therefore we conclude that what we are concluding is this z plus minus q minus 1 by q is equal to sorry z, this here you will have a minus 1. So minus 1, the coset of z plus minus 1 by q is equal to z plus q minus 1 by q. Z plus minus 2 by q equal to z plus q minus 2 by q. And z plus minus q minus 2 by q will be equal to z plus 2 by q, then z plus minus q minus 1 by q equal to z plus 1 by q. Therefore basically these cosets, when it come in the numerator, when these numbers comes as p, these cosets equal to these cosets. That's what we proved. Therefore we can assume that this mod p less than q, as we don't need these negative numbers. So what we can do is we can just remove this inequality and we can assume that 0 less than or equal to p less than q. Therefore the only choice, this choice is we don't need. Therefore the only choice is for p is 0, 1, 2, etc. q minus 1. Therefore, the elements are q minus z are precisely z plus p by q such that q is a natural number. This is an arbitrary natural number. Okay, but once you fix q, the choices for p is only 0, 1, 2, etc. q minus 1. Okay, that is what we have proved. Even though the arbitrary element looks like z plus x, such that x belongs to rational number in q mod z, actually q mod z doesn't have this many elements. Actually q mod z have only this many elements, where set of all z plus p by q such that p by q satisfies the condition that q is a natural number and its numerator can be 0, 1, 2 up to q minus 1. Okay. Okay. Now let's do some calculations. Simple calculation. Now we are almost done. So if you add z plus 1 by q with z plus 1 by q, you get z plus 2 by q. Similarly, because z plus 1 by q plus z plus 1 by q is z plus 1 by q plus 1 by q. Okay, you have to add just the representative. So 1 by q plus 1 by q is 2 by q. So if you add it k times, you get z plus k by q. Okay. For k less than q, if k is less than q, then this is a rational number. When k equal to q, okay, when you add it q times, you get z plus q by q. This is equal to z plus 1, which is z. This means that if you add z plus 1 by q with itself for q times, you will get the identity element. Z is the identity element in the group q mod z. If you add it for lesser time, you won't get the identity element because this is a fraction. If k is less than q, then this is a fraction. Therefore z plus k by q will not be equal to z. Okay, z plus some x equal to z only if x belongs to rational. Okay, therefore you are adding this number, this element with itself. First time you are getting identity element only if you add it with itself for q times. This means that q is the least positive integer such that this element to the power is identity. Okay, therefore this order of the element z plus 1 by q is q. Also, if you look at the subgroup generated by this z plus 1 by q, you will get a z plus 2 by q, z plus k by q for all k less than q. When you reach the qth time, you get a z plus q by q, that is again z. Okay, so basically, the subgroup generated by z plus 1 by q consists of z plus 1 by q, z plus 2 by q, then z plus q minus 1 by q, then z. Okay, z is the identity element. Z means z plus 0. Okay, so we have order of the coset z plus 1 by q. Sorry, it is a typo. It is equal to, sorry, again, it is equal to q. Okay, and the subgroup generated by z plus 1 by q is consist of set of all z plus k by q such that 0 less than or equal to k less than or equal to q minus 1. Okay. Yes, this is a cyclic subgroup of order q. Okay. Therefore, you remember that this q is an arbitrary integer. Okay. So you take any positive integer q, then you look at the subgroup generated by z plus 1 by q. It is a cyclic subgroup of order q. Therefore, in q mod z, for every positive integer q, there is a cyclic subgroup of order q which is generated by z plus 1 by q. But we want to know whether it is a unique subgroup or not. That let's see next. Okay. So for example, if you look at z plus 1 by 5, it consists of this element z plus 0, z plus 1 by 5, 2 by 5, 3 by 5, 4 by 5. Okay. Okay. All right cosets. So now we come to here. Okay. So we have proved that q mod z consists of set of all z plus p by q such that p is a positive integer less than q and q is a natural number. Basically, it means that 0 less than or equal to p less than q minus 1. Okay, this is what we proved. Q any natural number, but p can be any number between 0 and q minus 1. Therefore, once you fix a q, then it is numerator, possible numerators are 0 to q minus 1, but that is 0 plus z plus 0, z plus 1 by q, z plus 2 by q, z plus q minus 1 by q, those elements are belongs to subgroup generated by z plus 1 by q. That is what we just proved. Correct. Therefore, we conclude that q mod z is equal to union q equal to 1 to infinity subgroup generated by z plus 1 by q. Therefore, for each positive integer q, there is a unique cyclic subgroup of order q in q mod z. Okay. So from this it is clear. Therefore, q mod z also union of cyclic subgroups. Each of them is a cyclic subgroup. And okay, next we make one very important observation. Okay, so let you take a natural number q belongs to n. Okay, and I define w to be e power 1 by q times 2 pi I. Okay, we going to prove that this group q mod z is isomorphic to set of all nth root of unity. Okay, for some n. Okay, I am going to define that group. Again, that is another CSAR problem in which they asked whether this q mod is isomorphic to some other group. Okay, I am going to define that. What is that? Another group consists of nth root of unities. So you fix a natural number q, and I define w to be e power 1 by q times 2 pi I. Okay, then you calculate w power q, you get this whole power q. So this q will cancel, q and 1 by q will cancel. You get e power 2 pi I. So e power 2 pi I will be 1. Correct. Therefore, this w satisfies w power q equal to 1. Therefore, this w is a nth root of qth root of unity. qth root of unity. Now let's calculate w square. You will get e power 2 by q times 2 pi I. W cube will be e power 3 by q times 2 pi I. Then w power q minus 1 equal to e power q minus 1 by q times 2 pi I. Okay. So this, you take this element and you are multiplying it with itself. You are getting e power q minus 1 by q. If you look at w power q, you will get 1. Okay. So these are all nth, this is set of all qth root of unity which forms a group under complex number multiplication. So this 1 is a w power 0, you map it to 0. This w you map it to 1, w square you map it to 2, w cube you map it to 2, 3, w power q minus 1 you map it to q minus 1. This will give you a isomorphism between the group wq into zq. Okay, so wq is set of all qth root of unity, zq is cyclic group of order q consists of the elements 0 to q minus 1. Okay. Okay, so this is this set of all e power k by q times 2 pi I such that 0 less than or equal to k less than or equal to q. This set consists of all qth root of unity. If this k is relatively prime to q, we call them um, primitive nth root of unity or primitive qth root of unity. Okay, because if k is relatively prime to n, then that numbers will form a generator for zq. Here this will also be a cyclic subgroup of c star, and for them, if this k is relatively prime to q, those numbers form a generator. Okay. Okay, now I define w equal to union q equal to 1 to infinity wq. Okay, union of all qth root of unity. Okay, then this is a subgroup of c star, one can verify directly. You see, w is union q equal to 1 to infinity wq, it is a cyclic subgroup of order q. Q mod is at equal to union q equal to 1 to infinity cyclic subgroup generated by z plus 1 by q. Now the element of z plus 1 by q, subgroup generated by z plus 1 by q, is of the form z plus 0, z plus 1 by q, etc. z plus q minus 1 by q. Then wq equal to 1 e power 1 by q 2 pi I, e power q minus 1 by k, e power q minus 1 by q 2 pi I. So you map z plus 0 to 1, z plus 1 by q to e power 1 by q times 2 pi I, then z plus q minus 1 by q to e power q minus 1 by q by 2 pi I. This will define a bijection, group homomorphism between these two groups for any q. Therefore, this map defines a bijection between group isomorphism between these two groups w and q mod z. Okay, so therefore q mod z is isomorphic to w. So now w consists of all the nth root of unity. Whatever q, it consists of all the qth root of unity. So basically sometimes w is written like this. Set of all z belongs to c star such that z power n equal to 1 for some n, whatever n. So for some n means whichever number, complex number, non-zero complex number, you raise it to some natural number, it should be 1. Okay, so this is nothing but this is basically equal to union q equal to 1 to infinity wq. Okay, so try to see why these two sets are equal. It is just immediate. You can prove this is contained either here, this is contained here, therefore equal. Okay, there is a CSR problem claiming that in this group w, for every positive integer q, there is a unique cyclic subgroup or not. Okay, but here we proved that for every positive integer q, there is a unique cyclic subgroup. Therefore, here also the same result is true. Okay, so now if anything is asked about either this group or this group in any future, any competitive exam, whatever done in this video, with this you can solve any problem. Okay, I hope you like this video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.